Today we are diving through one of the most remarkable books in the Bible, Exodus. It's the story of God's deliverance of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt and their journey to the Promised Land. It's a story of faith, obedience, God's mighty power, and His faithfulness to His people. But more than just a historical account, the book of Exodus contains lessons that actually speak to us today, whether we're facing our own wilderness, dealing with trials, or seeking to understand God's will for our lives. The journey of the Israelites will provide timeless wisdom. As we walk through this incredible journey, let's reflect on the key lessons that Exodus teaches us and how we can apply them to our lives today. Let's start with the beginning journey, Exodus 1:4. In the opening chapters of Exodus, we find the Israelites are in a dire situation. They're slaves in Egypt. They're oppressed. They're crying out to God for deliverance. The Pharaoh has subjected them to cruel treatment, and it seems like there's no hope for them. But even in their despair, God has a plan, and He is already preparing a way of escaping for them. See, God is raising up a man named Moses, a man with a past, a reluctant leader who initially doubts his ability to fulfill God's calling. Moses is chosen to deliver God's message to Pharaoh, to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. God's plans often unfold in ways we do not expect. When things seem like they're hopeless, God is still at work behind the scenes. He does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. When things seem helpless, God is still at work. He's always at work. Yes, Moses, just like him, we may feel unqualified or unsure of how God can use us. But when we surrender to His will, He equips us for the journey ahead. And when God calls us, He does not always show us the whole picture, but He always provides the tools and support that we need for each step of our journey. In Exodus 5-12, we can see the power of God's deliverance through the plagues. See, Moses steps forward to confront Pharaoh. The resistance, it's intense. Pharaoh's heart is hardened, and he refuses to let the Israelites go. But God's power is unmatched, as always. So God allows to send 10 plagues upon Egypt to demonstrate His might and bring about the release of His chosen people. The plagues, they remind us of God's sovereign authority over all things, from turning the Nile into blood to sending locusts, darkness and death of the firstborn. Each plague shows that God is in control of nature in all circumstances. The final plague, the death of the firstborn, leads to the institution of the Passover, when the Israelites mark their doorpost with the blood of the Lamb so that the angel of death will pass over their homes. See, God's power is far greater than any force that we could actually face. When we are up against opposition, we can be confident that God's power can break through any barrier. The Passover also shows us the importance of the sacrifice of the Lamb, a foreshadowing of Jesus Christ, our ultimate Passover Lamb, who takes away the sins of the world. God's timing is perfect, and His deliverance is often in ways we least expect, but His power always prevails. Exodus 13-14 is all about stepping out in faith and the Red Sea. See, after the final plague, Pharaoh releases the Israelites, but soon his heart hardens again, and he pursues them with his army. The Israelites find themselves trapped at the edge of the Red Sea, with Pharaoh's army closing in behind them. It seems like there's no way out for them. Oh, but God commands Moses to stretch out his hand over the sea, and miraculously the waters part, allowing the Israelites to cross onto dry land. And when Pharaoh's army attempts to follow, the waters return, drowning the entire Egyptian army.